major Lakers trade update here. An NBA reporter close to the Lakers reveals trade plans not only for who the Lakers are targeting, but actually who they don't want to give up in a trade. That is none other than Rui Hachimura, the offensive weapon who the Lakers view as a long-term option for this team. And welcome to Lakers Digest here, guys. My name is Hunter Pitcoff. I am here with my partner in crime, Okechi Apakama. And yes, we know that the Lakers are always going to be involved in a lot of these trades, but now we have an idea of who they actually don't want to trade, Okechi.
Yeah, we do. And it's just fast and furious with all these rumors. You guys are seeing all these all these videos on the channel. So thanks for the support. But also, like, I do think this is about the time of year the Lakers, they're actually going to get something done, but I don't know what exactly it's going to be. So that's the exciting part, sifting through these rumors and try to find what the truth is out there.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of smoke out there,
Mhm.
most definitely, Okechi. And guys, we keep you up to date with everything surrounding your Lakers, whether it's rumors, reports, games. We cover everything here. So stop what you're doing right now. You already are watching the video. Come support us. We're trying to get to 3,200 subs. We are just 40-ish subs away. We just hit 31 last week. We can get to 3,200 before the new year, guys. That's our goal here. But let's get into today's video. Like we talked about, the major report today from none other than Jovan Buha, who covers the Lakers for The Athletic. He has as good of a year, guys, as any reporter does for this team. And this is what he had to say about the Lakers trade prospects earlier today. He said, quote, I don't think that means that they would not trade him, but among the four mid-sized salaries the Lakers can trade between now and the deadline, Rui, Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell, and Jared Vanderbilt. Rui is the guy they prefer to keep as the longest term piece. Now, of course, guys, he did not include LeBron and Anthony Davis. Those guys are definitely off limits because that is your superstars. You're building around those guys. And then Austin Reaves and Dalton Connect. I think they could be had, Okechi, but they're definitely probably not going to be had because they are, Lakers view them extremely highly and rightfully so. But of those guys, Okechi, what was your initial thoughts when you read this report?
A little shocked to be honest, because I didn't think the Lakers viewed Hachimura as sort of like this piece that they can build around. I know he's still like a young player and he's still growing because he's still like what 26, 27, so he's still got some room to grow. So for Hachimura, like as a player, yes, he can still get better, but I thought at least for the Lakers' sake, they could we're just looking to move anybody really. I thought really just Austin Reaves and Dalton Connect and Max Christie because his new role really. Those are the guys the Lakers or the young guys the Lakers are really kind of like building towards and building forward, not Hachimura. So that was kind of a shock to me.
It is interesting too because Max Christie was not named mentioned in those trade candidates. So I don't know if it's because the Lakers really value him, if it's because teams maybe don't really value him because he is locked up for 4 years. So that is a lot of money and commitment you have to Max Christie, who you can argue has maybe not lived up to that contract. Although he has played better, Okechi,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. And you definitely want to see that he's now in the starting lineup. And we do actually know too that JJ Redick said earlier that he wants a point of attack defender to be in that starting five. And he mentioned Rui Hachimura in that starting five, not Dalton Connect. He mentioned Rui, Austin, LeBron, and AD. And the guy on the roster right now that makes the most sense is Max Christie. But it is interesting here, though, as well, because, like you said, and we'll get into it a little bit more, if there's a trade out there, Okechi, that you think it might take a Rui Hachimura to make it happen, he might, the other team, because he's a good basketball
Yeah,
player.
he is. Yeah, he
He's
is.
been very good. So if there's a trade out there, let's say for a Cam Johnson or Dorian Finney-Smith, one maybe even Walker Kessler, one of these players that the Lakers are highly coveting. If the Lakers say no to leaving Rui out, or do you think they should stick to their guns here and really try their absolute hardest to keep him out of any trades?
Well, it does depend on the type of player because if we're talking about like Finney Smith or Cam Johnson, those are like similar-ish. Not like I mean like style-wise and players, but just like the position they play. So if you're swapping out for like Finney Smith, you're looking for like a more finished product of what that's what Dorian Finney Smith is. He's a 3 and D guy. He's gonna be a guy that's gonna defend the other team's best wing and you know what he's capable of. There is no more growing for a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith. So if the Lakers don't think Hachimura can get better, then definitely ship him off for a guy like Finney-Smith or Cam Johnson in that deal. But if it's for some of these other guys like a Walker Kessler, I think you can still get it done without Rui Hachimura. That's when some of like those draft assets come in. Maybe you throw in more second round picks. Maybe you throw in a pick swap, something along those lines to sweeten the deal. But Hachimura, I think you got to go for either some of those higher level like role players if you can find them. So like a Dorian Finney-Smith, if you don't think Hachimura is gonna get better than that, or maybe if it's like that star caliber player. So like we've heard names like Brandon Ingram even. So if it's for a deal with Brandon Ingram, maybe that's a guy you can make because you know he has that all-star level type of potential when he's healthy.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting with this report, and I'm kind of thinking more how the Lakers have been operating. They've been trying to play the middleman between going all in on a championship, but also thinking toward the future. And so
Hmm.
as a result, they've been quite literally in the middle of the NBA. They've been
Hmm.
good enough to compete, but not good enough to win a championship.
Hmm.
And as a result, this trade deadline on Okechi, I think, is going to be even more pivotal than it was last season or even this past offseason free agency because it's really going to tell you what the Lakers think of this team moving forward. If they are fully committed to a rebuild, or not rebuild, let's say a retooling, because I don't
Hmm.
think they're going to ever rebuild with
No.
Anthony Davis on the roster. And plus, the Lakers don't rebuild. This is not a team that does that. I think it actually does make sense to keep Rui because I think he's more of a four than he is a three. He just
Hmm.
had to play the three because LeBron can't really play the three anymore. He's more of a four. So Rui's kind of been put in a disadvantageous position to be that primary wing defender when that's just not really his game. And I think just based on his body type too, he's more equipped to bang with the bigs down low than to chase wings up top. But unfortunately, he's kind of been put in that position due to some injuries on the Lakers roster, but also just having to play with LeBron and Anthony Davis. So if you think that Rui Hachimura, who offensively fits with this team, but
He does.
defensively definitely has his lapses, do you think that maybe that's their mindset is of all these guys on the roster, Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell, um, and Rui Hachimura as well, and the fourth guy named in there. Do you think that is their mindset is that we're trying to play the middle here, and Rui's ultimately the guy that they're gonna kind of be like, all right, we're gonna build with him. Once LeBron leaves, he'll fit that. He'll
That
help
that
stretch
like
the wing.
that forward power forward wing spot. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I see that with a guy like Hachimura because I do think there is some room to grow for him. Like he's shown that he can be a three level scorer. Like his percentages are ridiculous from three. Just even like looking at his stats from the season, like he's dude shooting 48% from the field, 44%, excuse me, from three pointers, and 40 or 41% from the corners. So like that's the type of guy that you want out of a wing player who's not really the main part of your offense, but is a guy that's more of like a good complementary piece. So if he's, built around that star, you have that star who is Anthony Davis currently, because I think he's the best player on this team, then it does, work better, especially when you have those right guys next to him. Because I in the some of the games where LeBron James has missed the past couple of seasons, I felt better for the Lakers because they've had Rui Hachimura and Jared Vanderbilt, because those are two guys who do two of similar things essentially. So like one of them is going to be your offensive guy and the other guy is going to be for defense. So when it's structured like that, I feel like it's more suited for a guy like Rui Hachimura. But then it kind of depends on how some of these other guys grow, because if you're telling me that Austin Reaves can be the second best player on maybe a championship level team, I don't know if I believe you, but it just depends on how the Lakers want to build this. So like, are we trading the picks or trading the assets now, or are we keeping the picks and the assets, and then we're trying to trade some of these smaller level salaries like a Gabe Vincent or something like that.
And here's the thing too, Okechi, and we'll get to this point a little bit also because
Mm.
I am curious to see what you think about it. Do the Lakers even know what LeBron's status is for next season? Because that's gonna really determine like what kind of moves they're gonna want to make. Like if LeBron is he could leave next year. He can
Mhm.
retire. He's on a
Mhm.
1-1 deal. He can be like, hey, y'all guys, this is my last year. I'm done. So for them to really want to commit to making, and you can trade for like a Jonas Valanciunas. That's not going to cost you much. But
Mm-mm.
to get a guy like Cam Johnson or Dorian Finney-Smith or Walker Kessler or Colin Sexton or Jeremy Grant, it's gonna cost you something. You gotta to get good players. You gotta give up good assets.
Hmm.
And so, are they willing to give up these future first round picks to make the team maybe marginally better, but marginally better for a roster with LeBron on it? Because they don't want to be stuck with these guys
Hmm.
long term if LeBron's not going to be there.
True, true. Yeah, you make a good point about not wanting to like just make some of these like trades just for now. So like a thing that always runs in my mind is the Ivica Zubac trade. Remember that a couple years ago where
Yeah,
we
unfortunately, I do.
yeah,
Thanks for reminding me.
we traded him for like Mike Muscala and he's like, "Oh yeah, we need shooting."
Michael Beasley.
And it was but like it was essentially like a useless trade where the Lakers essentially mortgaged the future for a player for right now that didn't really work out. And you lost Ivica Zubac, who he would be amazing on this team with playing with Anthony Davis because he's shown on the Clippers that he's been a pretty solid rebounder, defender, and a screen and roll guy over there with James Harden. So I think the Lakers don't want to try to make a trade like that. That's why we don't see guys like Connect or Christie in this, but maybe that's why they threw in a guy like Rui Hachimura because they do think there is more they can bite off the apple with him. But I'm just not sure because like we can't do these half measures. So like the Lakers have to try to maximize with LeBron James what you got because I don't think he's gonna be a guy that's gonna just like precipitously fall off because he's hasn't shown that whatsoever. He's still like a good player, even though he's not like the best player on the Lakers. He's still a very good player. So it makes sense for the Lakers to just keep trying to put the best teams around him. And if that takes a Rui Hachimura, then it takes a Rui Hachimura. But the guys that you should be holding on to is some of the like the Austin Reaves, the Dalton Connects. I still believe in Max Christie. So those are the type of guys that you want to, build the foundation for the future because those guys can fit around essentially anybody.
Yeah, and I am of the camp where I think the Lakers do make sense here. I do think Rui Hachimura is a better asset than Vanderbilt, especially with the
Oh yes,
history
the
that
health for
Vanderbilt
sure.
has. Now it's like not without a doubt, like he's 100%. D'Angelo Russell expiring deal. I doubt he's back with this team next
Mm-mm.
year. And then you have Gabe Vincent, who of course has been. I would call him Cardio Gabe for a reason because
Mm.
he's really out there doing a whole lot of nothing.
He's our
So
he's our major trade asset with that salary, that 11 or 12 million
that's
dollars he
it.
makes. Yeah,
Yeah, I
something
mean,
something
you
like
look at
that.
it, you give up assets to get rid of Gabe Vincent. But Lakers kind of also. I mean, if we're gonna really go after Rob Pelinka here, he signed Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, and Christian Wood to all 1-and-1 deals where they had player options on the second year of their deal, probably thinking that none of them would opt in. But you sign vet minimum players for you sign vet minimum players for vet minimum contracts. They're gonna guarantee themselves a contract every single time. Like so,
Hmm.
I don't know why Rob did that. You could have gotten those guys probably without doing that, and it freed up even more cap space to go maybe later Jonas Valanciunas and have the money to do it. But now instead you don't. You find yourself in a tough position, and now you have to move off some assets you like. And Rui Hachimura, I think from an outsider's perspective, trying to trade for him, if you're telling me that LeBron, AD, Max Christie, Reaves, Dalton Connect, those guys are off the table, well, then I'm looking at Rui Hachimura. Like, I'd
Hmm.
rather him than D'Angelo Russell.
Hmm. And you can't trade two of the other Laker draft picks, Hochefino or Max, because they have no value. So
Yeah.
you have to try to find like value somewhere. But again, it depends on the type of player. So if they go with the Finney Smith route, like I would understand it because Finney Smith is more of a finished product, and then you kind of get what you're gonna get. But they can't be upset if a guy like Rui Hachimura does get better, say in different parts of his career. So like we've seen it with some of the other Laker young players that we've kind of had to trade or get rid of in order to get to this team that we have now. So guys like we see Josh Hart would be, oh my God, an amazing role player if he was on this Lakers squad. Or a guy like,
Oh, wait. He was.
oh yes, he was. I remember. Oh my gosh, best rebounding guard, and it's like, you know what? Let's get rid of him, and then
I
Larry
did get him
Nance.
for Anthony Davis, to be fair, but, it
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
be done.
it's yeah. It was a trade that had to happen, but also at the same time, I would love to have Josh Hart on this squad or Larry Nance Jr., who's shown that he's can be
Also,
like a solid backup five. Like imagine Larry Nance Jr. like backing up Anthony Davis. I wouldn't feel as bad as some of the other lineups that we've thrown up there in the past because I feel like Larry Nance is more capable of doing that. He actually played with LeBron, right? Remember that team? Then
yeah.
LeBron
Yeah.
traded everybody, and then Larry Nance came in, and he was one of their more solid guys. So it just they have to figure out what they are trying to do. And I think we are both in agreement here that like finding a trade before the trade deadline, so within the next 2 months, is the more plausible thing to do, because if they don't, then you did not improve this team whatsoever, and then now you're hoping that maybe Jared Vanderbilt comes back healthy and changes your team. Christian Wood comes back healthy, changes your team. So I don't. That's not a good thing to bet on if you're a Los Angeles Laker fan.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. We just saw Dennis Schroeder go for like 2 second round picks,
Hmm.
and the Warriors traded away D'Anthony Melton, who's out for the season.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this trade deadline is gonna be that crazy, but we're Laker fans get pissed off. Like, all right, so a team in the same state as us, who's
Hmm.
competing for a playoff positioning like us
Hmm.
in the same division, just traded for Dennis Schroeder, who the Lakers have had twice now,
Hmm.
who they could have had for a third time. You could argue he fits way better than D'Angelo Russell and Gabe Vincent does, and now he's gonna be playing in Golden State. It's like that was the guy the Lakers were targeting, and I want to shout Lakers Nation because I didn't make this up, but they said that the Brooklyn Nets are the Walmart of the NBA trade market. Like whatever you need, they have it. If you want a shooter, they got Cam Thomas. You want 3-and-D, they got Cam Johnson. They have Dorian Finney-Smith. They got Day'Ron Sharpe as well, the big man there, who I
Hmm.
actually think would be a really nice get for the Lakers too.
Hmm.
They got everything, and then Dennis Schroeder, who just got traded to Golden State. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of desperate teams out there, catchy, and the Lakers, I think, have enough to at least get somebody, or else there's gonna be a lot of angry fans in our comments.
Oh no, for sure. Like, figuring out what the Lakers are gonna do here, like to me, it's clear. Like the guys that you keep, because if it's we're trading guys like Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell expiring contract, I don't think he's coming back. Those are guys that are up to trade, and if Rui Hachimura, to me, it has to be the right deal. So if it ends up being Finney Smith, that's one thing. But if it's like a guy, maybe like a Robert Williams the third out of Portland, then I'm like,
Like that too.
I like
Like that
him.
too.
So like I
He's a
would do
great fit.
yes. And barring health, he can be a very good player next to Anthony Davis, because he can guard those bigger players, and he's also pretty good to switch out too sometimes. So they have that switchability between both of them. So the Lakers just have to figure out what to do with Rui.
I love the Robert Williams deal, and maybe we'll make a video on that too, guys, because I think he's someone that would fit perfectly with what
Same
the Lakers
here.
need. You can give him 20 minutes a game. If you need to start next to Anthony Davis, you can. He's a phenomenal rebounder, phenomenal rim protector. Does
Hmm.
not need the ball offensively to be effective. That's exactly the type of big Okechi. I'm glad you brought him up that the Lakers need. But the question is, and we know this historically,
Hmm.
Portland will not trade with the Lakers, but maybe this is different.
Maybe, hopefully, it's different, because
Oh,
especially for Rob Pelinka's sake. Because if he doesn't, I do think his job might be in jeopardy if he does not get something done here.
and before we wrap up here, because I'm sure our listeners will definitely want to know this too. What is a realistic, ideal trade deadline for the Lakers? A successful one in your mind, Okechi? Like, what do they walk out with? And most Laker fans could be like, Rob Pelinka, USOB, you figured it out.
um, well, I don't think the Lakers are going to be able to get everything they need, because they kind of need, like, a backup big man, a sturdy 3-and-D wing, and like a point guard ish or guard ish type that can score and like pass. I don't know if they're going to find that point guard type specifically, but I do think they can find the big man and possibly the 3-and-D. So I would hope, this is just me personally speaking, like I would love Rob Williams and Cam Johnson. Those would probably be like, if the Lakers were able to end up with those two guys and trade, I would say maybe one first round pick, because Cam Johnson's probably worth a first round pick. Robert Williams, I think you can get him out of second round picks.
Yeah,
Mostly because I don't most the Portland has, like, they have a log jam of centers, so like they have to get rid of somebody. So I don't think they're gonna have to like have the leverage essentially to ask teams like, hey, if you want Rob Williams, it's gotta be a first round pick. People are like, let me go ask for Nick Richards or something like that, or go ask for Day'Ron Sharp. So other teams might go elsewhere. So the Portland, I think you can get Rob Williams for second rounders, and then Cam Johnson, you can probably trade like a first, and maybe some of these guys we talked about, like D'Angelo Russell and stuff like that. But that is my preferred route. What about you, Hunter? What do you think the Lakers' successful trade deadline would look?
First off, I really like those names. I think if the Lakers got Cam Johnson and Rob Williams, like now you're looking at this team like, okay, like they got two really freaking good players. Cam Johnson, first off, can really shoot the ball,
Hmm.
and he's got great size as well. And I think just has that complementary game that he can play well and be effective next to star players.
Hmm.
And we've seen him do it in Phoenix. Brooklyn a little different. They didn't have those guys, but I think he's more than capable of doing it. And Rob Williams, like we talked about, he has done that with the Boston Celtics. So
Yeah.
I'm going to name two different players just so we don't sound redundant here, although I do really like that one. I will go with. I'm a big fan of Colin Sexton. I think
Mm.
that he would be perfect for this team. If you replace him with D'Angelo Russell, not throwing shade at D'Lo, he's a much better defender. He's shooting over 40% from three. He's shooting 48, 42, and 90 this season. Okay.
Whew.
Like, that is elite shooting numbers for a guy who wasn't a shooter coming into the NBA.
No, he
So it
wasn't.
shows you he's a dog. He puts in the work, and he plays defense. And he's a clutch guy, which I also found out the other day. So that also matters.
I think that was a recent thing too. But so yeah, but that was Colin Sexton's one name. So who was the other name?
Oh, Colin Sexton, and I would love to say a big. I'll cheat a little bit here. I'll say either. I think they could get both, but I'll go either Dorian Finney-Smith or Daron Sharp. I really like the assets that Brooklyn has. Daron Sharp, to me, only 23 years old. Similar-ish to Robert Williams, but a little less polished. He's an elite rebounder, and even more elite off rebounder. Extremely athletic.
Hmm.
He's big too. He's 265. So
Ooh.
you're looking for like size. He's size, right? Like he's gonna give you that, like Jonas Valanciunas would, but he's also 8 years younger, and I think he's just got a really nice motor. But that's kind of a logjam too, and he's a restricted free agent. So Lakers, if you trade for him, you can lock him up long term too,
Hmm.
and he can be someone that you can build with this young team. So you're checking off a box for getting youth and athletes on this team, which they need, and you're filling a need as a big next to Anthony Davis, who does not have to start, but can if you need him to. And then Dorian Finney-Smith, like we talked about, just super solid 3-and-D wing. He's 31 years old, so he's a little bit older. So you're definitely looking more for the short term, whereas Cam Johnson's 28, so you're looking a little more long term with him. But Dorian Finney-Smith's super solid too, and I think he can help any team win a whole lot of games.
Oh yeah, I mean we already saw it with the Dallas Mavericks. He was a huge help to that team. They had to trade him in order to get Kyrie. So like he's a valuable player. So
They missed him.
yeah, they sure do. They might trade for him back. That's how much they miss him.
Yeah, I mean they had to trade for PJ Washington because they lost him.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's how valuable Dorian Finney-Smith was to that team. But guys, we're gonna talk a whole lot about the trades and stuff like that. We talked a whole lot tonight because me and Okechi, we just can't shut up when it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers. We can just go on and on and on. But just be on the lookout for those videos. And I'm gonna say it one more time. If you've already watched this far and you are not subscribed, like what are you doing? It's the season of giving. You can give back. Stop what you're doing before the video's done. Just click that subscribe button. It's free. It don't cost you a thing. You can really stay up to date with everything we do here on Lakers Digest.
Of course. And just, final thoughts here before we just head out though. I generally think that Hachimura being more valued than he is interesting, and I'm hoping that he does, reach some of the potentials that the Lakers are hoping for. Maybe, the defense, I wouldn't say like comes along, but like gets to a point where like you can put him out there and you don't have to worry. But you're probably right about him being more of a 4 than he is a 3. So if the Lakers can find somebody at that 3 position to push Rui more to that 4 position, then I think we're in business there.
And maybe that's a Cam Johnson or a Dorian Finney-Smith. But like we said, guys, thank you so much
Mhm.
for listening here on Lakers Digest. Okechi Apakama, fun to Pitcoff here. See you guys next time.